YouTubers. Today we're going to talk about how to buy a profitable franchise, specifically McDonald's. It's in a series of franchise reviews that I'm going to do on YouTube, looking at the top 10 and maybe even more franchises available for purchase by investors looking to get into business. So McDonald's was the #1 currently franchise in the world. How do you own one? There's something to be said about brand recognition, and you'd have a tough time finding a more recognizable brand than the Golden Arches. So how does one buy a profitable McDonald's franchise? Owning a McDonald's franchise comes with instant, loyal customer base and a system that is tried, tested, and proven to generate a consistent income. It requires, however, a significant investment of capital to get involved. You must have at least $500,000 in non-borrowed assets, liquid assets, before your application will even be considered. And you'll be required to put at least 25% of the cash as a down payment to secure your franchise location. The initial franchise fee is $45,000 with a total initial investment between $1 million and $2.2 million. The bad news is, in order to buy a profitable franchise like a McDonald's, you will need to make an initial down payment of 40% of the total cost if you're buying a new restaurant, and 25% if you're buying an existing one. And then once you're up and running, you're going to pay a 4% of your gross monthly sales back to McDonald's, plus your location rent and all other overhead. In addition to the time you'll spend getting your franchise ready to open, you'll need to spend some time getting yourself ready to run it. Most companies want franchisees to undergo 2 types of training: classroom training, either at a training facility or company headquarters, and online, on-location training. Now, McDonald's has a McDonald's University, which trains its franchisees right on its campus. They offer a lot more training than other franchises, and they want you to have at least 75 hours of classroom training and then 6 to 24 months of on-the-job training. Also, as the owner, plan on working 16 hours a day until your team is established and trusted. So what are the trends for McDonald's? Ray Kroc opened McDonald's, the first one in 1940. And began franchising in 1955, which is shortly before I was born. So we're talking about 67 years of franchise histories. In 2008, there was almost 32,000 locations around the globe. By the start of 2017, there was 37,000 units, representing a 15.8% growth in nearly 10 years. There isn't some big jump in there that skews the average either. From 16 to 17, McDonald's added 507 units, and it's added 1,328 units in the past 3 years. Much of this growth has come outside of the U.S., but the number of American franchises has not plateaued. As of 2017, there were 13,109 American franchises, which represents a 10-year high. Luckily, McDonald's is still expanding in the U.S., from Maine to Alaska, Hawaii to Florida. So you can still buy a McDonald's franchise. And on the text here, I gave you a click to a map to contact McDonald's representatives who can help you figure out a location for you if you're interested. Other than a sign with golden arches and a color scheme, what exactly are you getting when you become a McDonald's franchisee? What does the burger brand offer you that will help you make your investment prosper? Some of it's obvious and some of it might not be. Ongoing support includes newsletters, invitations to meetings and conventions, toll-free line to the company, a grand opening, online support, security and safety procedures, field operations, site selection, proprietary software, and a franchise intranet platform. Plus, you get marketing support with co-op advertising, ad templates, national media, regional advertising, social media, a loyalty program, and app. So what can you make if you own one of these? Most franchise owners still pull in an estimated yearly profit of around $150,000. That's after about $2.7 million in sales, and it isn't even 6%. But after food costs, supplies, crew payroll, and about a dozen other costs handed down by corporate, that's what franchisees are left with. And one thing that you're going to have to deal with and watch out for is employee theft, as in any restaurant. It's a problem that plagues the food service industry no matter what the product or the company. As is the case with any business, especially in the quick service restaurant industry, maintaining profitability requires having and upholding strict internal controls. Without them, valuable sales dollars never find their way to your bottom line. When the viability of your business depends on capturing every penny from every transaction, and when an estimated 7% of restaurant industry annual sales are lost to theft, keeping any and all fraud out of the equation is a must. While operating McDonald's, the first line of defense when it comes to combating fraud can be drawn at the front counter. The point of sale or register is where transactions are recorded, money is collected, and unfortunately is often the first place where fraud occurs. A prominent opportunity for abuse is at the POS, but one that can be mitigated through proper internal controls are manual overrides known as TREDs. Manual overrides typically occur when a sales transaction needs to be voided or changed and can only be fully executed by entering a password or PIN into the POS for final verification. It's up to each organization to decide who has access to the password or PIN, but in most cases it'll be the managers. Fraudulent manual overrides are often the result when managers give out their PIN to other crew members, whether through misplaced trust or misperceived necessity, thus eliminating any real barrier to manipulating the sales transaction data. Don't wait until it seems like something is wrong before taking preventative steps. Implement these steps below to help prevent fraud. First and foremost, protect the POS password or PIN. It must not be shared for any reason. Secondly, change the PIN frequently. These changes should occur daily or at the very least every few days to ensure security. While the POS password or PIN technology is not necessarily new, its weaknesses may warrant a renewed internal control assessment. As a rule of thumb, whenever there's a change in technology procedures affecting the front counter and or the drive-thru, it's recommended that you design a point person in your organization to follow up and monitor key internal statistics. In the case of TREDs, the owner or the point person should track the frequency and dollar amounts that TREDs occur. You can use R2D2 reports or set up QSR soft email notifications to help keep you informed so you can stay ahead of potential theft. Cash controls are a huge opportunity for the McDonald's system as a whole. If you invest in and commit to strong internal cash controls, you'll help to maximize profits and reap greater benefits from your hard work. So the bottom line here is that owning a McDonald's franchise can net you $150,000 a year or slightly over $10,000 a month. But it requires a significant amount of cash to get started and a significant time commitment to keep it running and to keep your eyes on the prize. How would you like to check out a business that requires much less of an investment but can have you generating a larger cash flow than a McDonald's in a shorter period of time without having to slave over hot stoves and eat greasy, sugary food all day? Click the link at the bottom to learn more. And that's all today from My Boomer Life. Have a good one. See you on the other side.